What's going on, everybody? It is Warpath2 or Adam, and today I thought I'd make kind of a quick rundown video and some of my thoughts on the new Xbox One announcement. I did this for the PS4 and I don't know, it's kind of cool. So I thought I'd do the same thing for the Xbox One, and I'm going to briefly touch on Call of Duty at the very end of it and then just kind of sum up my whole experience. So you guys heard me right the first time. The Xbox One is the new Xbox. One is not to denote like a console number, obviously. It's trying to kind of bring together the whole one screen experience. They're trying to make one box, one console for everything you need, and they really kind of showed that here. I'm going to run through a couple of specs and features with you here to kind of show you what you're going to get with the Xbox One if you decide to get it. First of all, there's 8 gigs of RAM, which is way better than what we have now. There's Blu-ray finally, 500 gigabyte hard drive, which I don't know, I feel like in a couple of years that's going to be a mistake. They should have included a terabyte. And there's also an 8-core GPU. So it honestly sounds like a beast of a processor and a beast of a box put together. Now with this, every Xbox is going to ship with Kinect 2.0. There's an update sensor, it's 1080p wider field of view, and what really the big selling point I think for this is going to be is the voice controls. Now what you're going to be able to do with the voice controls is you can walk into your room wherever you are and just say Xbox on, and this will turn on your Xbox. So I assume this is going to go to playing games or finding a video, whatever. I think it's going to be a really good idea. And what I'm going to do from here, by the way, is I'm going to start showing you guys pictures of the Xbox One and some of the different things and the controller, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, I think this is honestly a really solid kind of development. I think the Kinect for that is going to look much better and it's going to function much better. Next, as far as the specs go, there are a couple of other things here that they're kind of working on. There's a snap mode. I didn't see a lot of as far as what that's going to be, but I assume it's just like Windows 8 snap. And then there's Skype on Xbox One. So there's kind of a lot talked about this with Skype on Xbox, and everybody kind of predicted it. Microsoft owns Skype now. I don't know what this is really going to do for everyone as far as parties go. I don't know if you have to do them through Skype or if that's going to be a new option, but we'll see. So one of the bigger discussions before everything kind of was announced today was the always-on requirement and would it play used games. And there actually was answers to that. They weren't necessarily out in the open, but there were answers. Some reporters dug this up, and the sources are from Wired and The Verge. But apparently Microsoft said that, number one, it's not always going to be required to be always on for games, but they're going to give developers access to the Microsoft Azure cloud feature. So they're going to be able to offload some of the computational processes instead of just making them all be done on the actual system itself. They're going to be able to set some of those to be done in the cloud, which is awesome. So as I predicted a few months ago, this isn't going to be a system of no use games whatsoever. It's going to be a licensing system. So what's going to happen is once you pop your game into your Xbox, number one, you're going to have to download it. You have to install the games directly to your Xbox. I'm sure that has something with the way they want them to run. It's going to be a smoother experience that way. Number two, it's then linked to your Xbox Live account. So I can't take my copy of Call of Duty Ghosts and give it to my buddy without him paying some sort of fee to use that game then through the Xbox. So it's all linked to your Live account. If you want to share games, you got to share your Live account too. And I don't know how many systems are going to let be licensed. So with this, kind of one of the things that I was really interested in talking about was the controller. So you're going to see some pictures here, and I actually, man, I like the way this controller looks. I think it's a more grown-up adult version of the current Xbox controller. So it looks like, I don't know if the Xbox button is going to be the button at the top as you're seeing here, but I have a feeling you won't even really be using that since the system's going to be all on. I think a lot of your menu functions are going to be directly through the Kinect, so you won't need to do that for a bunch of other stuff. You'll just say your voice action and then you're good to go. So, and part of the reason I think this is there is a requirement that they talked about stating that the Xbox controller and the Kinect would be always connecting and communicating. That's why I don't feel like you're going to necessarily need the guide button or anything like that. But it also brings up an interesting point. What if you don't have the Kinect plugged in? At that point, what do you do? Where do you go from here? Are you going to be able to play games? So I guess we'll see what happens there. Now, one other thing that's interesting with the controller that I don't know, I haven't seen anybody really bring up too much, is the programmable triggers. Now, this isn't something that we can program. It's not like trigger stops, but developers can program different kinds of haptic feedback into the triggers. So let's say you're doing a crazy like drift in Forza 5, and you go around the corner, you're going to feel a different sensation than if you got hit with a stun or flash grenade in Call of Duty. So it's a really interesting concept to put the haptic feedback there as well, not just in the actual palms of the controller, if you will. Now, Forza 5 is a confirmed launch title. I'm going to bet tons of money that Call of Duty is going to be a launch title, although not exclusive. And then they've also talked about being 18 other or 15 other exclusive launch titles, 5 or 8 new franchises. I don't know why I keep mixing those up. That's going to be interesting. What's really interesting is FIFA 14 is going to be Xbox only, which is nuts. That's cutting out a huge fraction of people who already play FIFA on the PS3, and that's going to hopefully move them over to Xbox. That's, I guess, EA and Microsoft's hope. EA also announced a new strategic partnership with Microsoft. We'll see how that kind of breaks out over the rest of the time. NFL also announced a partnership with Microsoft, so now you're going to be able to watch the NFL directly from your Xbox, but it's going to be a different experience than you get watching TV. The content providers for Xbox One are also going to have station people at games. So I'm assuming you're going to get some different angles, obviously. You're going to get some different kinds of experiences with that, but nobody really knows what that's going to shake out to be yet. The console itself also has like a built-in DVR functionality for games, just like the PS4. I don't really think that's that important. I don't think it's going to be YouTube killer or anything like that. I just think it's something that they're putting in there because sharing games is a bigger experience than it was 8 years ago. So let's talk about Call of Duty Ghosts for a minute. Now, if you've seen the trailer, and I'll just throw a quick link up here because I don't really think it's appropriate for me to be re-uploading the trailer, but anyways, I'm going to throw a link here. You guys need to check it out. It looks, I hate to say it, it looks really good. But that's just on the campaign side of things. We obviously haven't really seen anything in multiplayer, so we don't really know what's going to be or what that's going to shake out to be like. Hopefully that'll come very soon, just so we can all know what we're in for. When it comes to Call of Duty Ghosts, though, they've done a lot to develop the engine. They've done a lot to kind of remake what the identity of Call of Duty is. Instead of just having kind of a campaign, they're definitely pushing for that to be more of a focus in the game by hiring the director of Syriana / writer of Traffic, Stephen Gahan, which T. Martin talked about a couple days ago, which I guess that's huge news. But anyways, so it's more about bringing an experience to you versus just a game you play. They want to make it something memorable. With the game, it definitely looks like there's some sort of post-apocalyptic thing. I want to say it's nuclear weapons. It just kind of points to that because of the opening scene of the trailer. There looks to be tons of missiles falling from the sky. So I wouldn't rule that out. With multiplayer, I don't know. They've got a couple new things. They've got a dolphin slide is what everybody's calling it. It's a slide maneuver that lets you slide forward like a reverse baseball slide, I guess, or a head first slide into home. So you'll be able to slide, get a kill, do that thing. They've also got the new peek around walls mechanic, which is going to be useful, but I see a lot of people raging about that. And they're also going to have like a new vaulting system. So if an object's low enough, it's going to be a smooth vault over versus you having to like climb up, stop, then go down. I think that's very good. That shows progress not only in the engine itself, but the engine's ability to handle rendering better and to handle movement and controls better. So that should translate to a better multiplayer experience overall, hopefully. We'll still see how that shakes down. As an overall experience for the Xbox One / Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm skeptical. We'll see how that plays out with multiplayer. Xbox One, though, it's impressive. I really like what Microsoft is doing. Their aim with this is not to create the next great gaming console. Their aim with this is to take over your living room. They don't want you to have any other devices. They want to be your TV. They want to be your DVR. They want to be your game system, your movie player, everything. That's Xbox's new goal. And that's really smart on Microsoft's side. They're not lacking anywhere in PC sales or anything like that, or new install base. But it's definitely what they need to do to take on Sony. With this, I'm probably going to get an Xbox. There's nothing about the Sony PS4 that is compelling me to think differently. the Xbox just looks like a beast of a system. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you're new here, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, check it out, and leave a comment telling me what you guys think about the new Xbox One and Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm Warpath2 Adam, and you guys take it easy.